work of the Shluchim, with the power of the Mashiach, is conquering the entire world. In fact, Rabbi Chaim Gutnick once told the Rebbe while he was distributing dollars that the fifth continent, Australia, was also conquered by the Rebbe.
Auf kurz auf der Rabbeinem in die ganze Welt. Die Yabeshet Zachamisches verlangt schön zum Reben. Die Reihe, als der unser Reich am Scholoch hat gebeten, er soll übergeben zum Reben wie Schmui. Seine Anerkennung von der Arbeit, was der Rebbe tut, über die ganze Welt. Und das hat er geschickt, im Namen von Australien.
אז יש לי שכך יבצע משתנה המון שלהם.
Das ist Leibjot. Leibi Shem Tov hat das gemacht.
Es זוכר, heißt Leibi aber sicher noch nicht Kinke. Ich bin Schake hinege. Narlov, Narloshi. Ich war mal kein Waschen. Wann jede kein bisschen.
Wir müssen fassen gewinnen, es so leicht. Und wir dürfen mit Kaddish Hashem gewinnen, mit Kaddish Hashem Lukavitch. Ich glaube, wegen Australien, wir reden das Arbeit.
Gott ist, ich wollte aber sagen, dass er uns ein Geflein mit Tischir.
Amen.
Und das hängt davon aus. Ich sitze dort, ich bin dort.
Alle Rabbonim, nach von Australien, wir arbeiten alle zusammen, wir wollen es
aber wir sind einfach Kein und Europa, alle gute Sachen zusammen.
Mit alle Rabbonim dürfen wir das.
Aber Kein?
Nein, aber dann...
Man lacht es Kein, wie ich komme. Dann schüsst es.
The next stop is Australia. We are landing in Melbourne. In 5744, Rabbi Yossi and Mina Gordon on Shlichus of the Rabbi Melech HaMoshiach opened a Chabad house in Tasmania. Rabbi Gordon arranges events on holidays and Shabbos, Shiurim and more. Rabbi Yossi and Mina live in Melbourne and serve as teachers and spiritual guides to many people in the community, both in Tasmania and Victoria. Their 13 children live all over the world. Some of them are Shluchim in their hometown.
The first time that I was Zeicha for a Shlichus of the Rebbe was in Tafshin Lamed Daled, when I was Zeicha to be sent to Miami as a Shliach. We had a Yechidus then in Gan Eden HaTachton on Yud Cheshvan, Tafshin Lamed Daled, where the Rebbe told us then, Azol Zayin from Dorten, Hafotzas HaMayonis Chutz Al Kol Ilum Kulei, that from there we should spread the Mayonis over the whole world, which from this I learned that every Shliach, wherever he works, is able to, you can change the world, they had on the Living Torah. That you can, wherever your Shlichus is, you can impact the entire world. My father was once told by the Rebbe that he suffers from the Shin Midrai Keplach Shiflus Shel Sheker. So every single Shliach has to know not to underestimate how much we can achieve. Now, how is the best way to achieve? I was Zeich in Tafshin Lamed Daled 2 days after Pesach. I had a Yechidus with the Rebbe. That was the last time I had a private Yechidus with the Rebbe. And the Rebbe spoke to me very much about Shlichus. And the Rebbe told me then that the Iker Hatzloch in Shlichus is totally in Kemei Feisayis in L'Rabbi. From which I understand that the biggest Shlichus you could do is when you or yourself are a chassid as should be, and act the way you should be and represent the Rebbe, then you do your Shlichus on the highest way. The Rambam brings on V'yohavtas Hashem Elikecha sheyehi shem shamayim misayev al yodcha, that you should act in a way that causes people to love Hashem. On that same Yechidus in Tafshin Lamed Daled, I asked the Rebbe something that I did that wasn't it should be, a tikkun for a certain thing, and the Rebbe told me then 2 days after Pesach, Tafshin Lamed Daled, Miloi hashlichus b'milua ketikuna. I don't remember if he said both words. Is a tikkun fayeder pegambas ken nor zayin koilo das v'dus geschriven. Fulfilling shlichus properly will correct every single chesaron that could possibly be. And from that I knew that because I have pegomim, I have chesroinus, the only eitzah for me would be to dedicate myself to shlichus. At that time today you have the Sefer HaShlichus, at that time there was a little kuntus HaShlichus which I read, and over there that Rebbe writes that the tachlis of shlichus is to go to Mokim Rochik Begashmiyas Uveruchmiyas, which is why when I had an opportunity to go to Australia, I thought this is a tachlis of shlichus, and even more when I had an opportunity to get involved with Tasmania, I thought that is the Maila of Richuk Mokim Begashmiyas Uveruchmiyas, which is the time that Rebbe writes the tachlis of shlichus. When I was zoicha to my shlichus in Australia, which was in Tafshin Lamed Tes on Kof Ches Shmak, and we had a yechidus in Gan Eden Atachtin, and the Rebbe then gave us a sicha of Parsha Mishpatim, printed in Chelek Tes Zayin, which is basically on the inyan of shlichus. And over there in this sicha, he speaks very much about Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai, that every moment he was involved in his shlichus, and that's why he had no time to think. As the goal of shlichus is to bring Mashiach, I want to mention an amazing story that I had in shlichus on the inyan of Mashiach. I live in Melbourne, Australia, and at one point I had a bunch of young children, and I took all my children to the park once on a Sunday. I come to the park and I find 5 Russian Jews sitting there, and one Jew says to the other, "Du zest a dead Eid? On his house he's got a sign about Mashiach." The other Russian Jew says, "A plakat wegen Mashiach? Bist an Lubavitcher? Hast gebracht mit sich a paar Tefillin? Did you bring Tefillin?" So I had to admit the truth, I didn't bring Tefillin. So this Russian Jew tells me, and it affected me very deeply, he tells me, "Du bist a Falscher, you're a phony. Bei dir in Stub ist da a plakat wegen Mashiach, und du bist gekommen in Park und Tefillin." I looked around the park and I found people with a mimer, with a tefillin. There was Chassidim there with a mimer, with a sicha, with a Rambam. Nobody had tefillin. I packed up all my children. I went home, got my tefillin, came back, and 5 Russian Jews put on tefillin. Somebody ordered a mezuzah. But the words of this Russian Jew made a very deep impact on me. He tells me, "Du bist a Falscher. Bei dir in Stub ist da a plakat wegen Mashiach, und du bist gekommen in Park und tefillin." In other words, we have to think, we speak about Mashiach, we're focused on Mashiach. Does it affect our life? And there's no question that as Shluchim it can, and we're able to affect. And through this we're able to change the world. There's no hagbola to what every single one of us can achieve if we do the right thing in all in Yonim of Shlichus. Hatzlacha Rabul Muflaga.